You are listening to The Ben Keech Show, where every day the objective is simple. Ben will never stop fighting the fight and lighting the light on topics that affect you every day.
What is going on, folks? I'm glad you're watching. I'm glad you're listening while you're driving, while you're working, whatever the heck you're doing. Thankful to have you guys here. Episode 53. My name is Ben. This is the Ben Keech Show, and we are rolling with another episode with these two guys. We got Jonathan Konen, Bret Keech, and we're going to talk about a variety of topics. I hope you liked the last episode, and just a couple housekeeping items. Number one, take this episode, share it with a friend. We're close. Actually, I think we may have just passed 500 subscribers on YouTube, so I appreciate that so much. But maybe you're going to subscribe on Spotify or Apple, whatever that is. We appreciate it. We are going to have new guests every week working through that, some exciting topics that we're going to be doing. Sometimes it's going to be Zoom, sometimes it's going to be live. But today we're live. We have Bret, we have Jonathan, part 2. How are you guys doing?
Great.
Yeah, okay. We are going to, they told me that they want to say the slogan, and I'm trying to figure out the right time. So that's just me reminding you guys. If I forget in this episode, because I just start getting all carried away or whatever, I always forget about the slogan. Episode 2, I talked about the slogan. I barely talked about it since. I actually had a friend who she said, I don't even know what the slogan means. What is that? I was like, you need to talk about your slogan more. So maybe we'll pick that up here at the end with Bret and Jonathan. All right. Question we're going to get right after. We established last time that Michael Jordan's the best basketball player ever. We're good there. And a few other things. Something like that. I never said my fifth. Anyway, okay. Anyway, that's issues. 52 has a problem now. Okay. But on 53, my question to start you guys off with today is, you guys are hopeful to be successful. You guys want to do well with your life, and you see people who are successful. You see people who fail and then become successful. My question for you guys is, how in the heck do you become successful at this thing called life? Like, what are some things you'd like to do? We'll start with Bret on this one. What do you say, Bret?
I think it does depend on what you're trying to be successful in. For me, the past few years, one of my main focuses has been to be the best basketball player I can be. And I think what a lot of people skip over is just doing the minimum, and a lot of people will just go to practice, come home, do whatever, play video games, just do the basic normal things. But I think for a lot of people, it could be very beneficial to do some extra things. What I've always done the past few years is I go to the gym before school, so it's just an extra workout that 99% of people aren't doing. So it's just every day it stacks up, and that's helped me a lot in the past few years. I think when I tell people that, people just think I'm crazy because I'm waking up super early, but I just think it's just a time in the morning. It doesn't matter. I mean, you can, once you get used to it, it's just, you get on a routine. It's not as difficult. It can be hard at times, but life's supposed to be hard. It's not
right.
Waking up early to
do what you love.
To do what you love. It's
right.
It's
a blessing.
Yeah.
What way do you attack success, Jonathan?
I would say, just to piggyback off what he said, I think the morning grind is a great opportunity. Something I kind of came across. I've seen you guys doing it, and I think starting your day with something hard is kind of. I'm at the point now where if I don't do it, I'm almost more tired, and it just starts my day on a great note, and I'm energized to go to class, and I think it's a great thing. But beyond just that and going to the gym in the morning, I think, especially this year, like just knowing I'm about to be done with high school, just broadening what I want to do and trying new things and trying to get better at things that maybe are new to me, but
right.
Being brave enough to be bad at something new. I saw a quote.
I like that. Being brave enough to be bad at something new. Why do you like that quote?
Well, so I was doing Hawk Leaders. It was like you help the freshmen,
Right.
and I think just high school is a great time to, you know, it's probably the best time in your life to have the most opportunities to try new things and be in a position where it's okay to fail and stuff like that.
Right.
And you really just learn from that. And I just love that and just trying to get outside of my comfort zone more for sure.
Well, let me give you a follow-up question. Let me give you guys a new question and kind of following up what you just said, Jonathan. So when we have being brave to try something new, and high school is a place where there's just a lot of things going on. There's tons of opportunities. It's right in front of you. Some kids take them, some kids don't. But I think that fear can set in for some people in terms of why they may not try certain things or do certain things at school. How have you seen fear play out in yourself? How have you seen fear play out in even other people?
For me, starting last year when I went to Shawnee Mission South, I think if I did it all over again and I was doing it, I think one main thing is I think I was just like kind of scared going into that new situation. And I don't think being scared going into any situation helps you. I think if you walk into the building and you know what you bring to the table, you know just who you are, and you just act like yourself, I think that will always be more beneficial than being scared of doing something wrong, scared of saying the wrong thing, scared of what people are going to think about you in the new situation, which is very hard at times. But I think just being confident in yourself and not worrying about what other people think of you is a big thing.
I agree. How do you overcome that? How do you get to a place to where you are confident in yourself, or you do believe that you can do things? Like how do you think that takes place?
I mean, it can be hard. For me, I have not always been good at that, but I think just over time I've realized that, like, I think just again last year made me realize, like, if I was always confident and always not scared and just stuff like that, then it would have helped me in different situations. And just kind of looking back, I just realized that being fearful of different things isn't going to help me to be where I want to be.
Do you think that everybody has fears in certain capacities?
I mean, yeah, I think everyone's in some way, shape, or form is fearful of something, whether it's your friends, your parents, your job, your boss. I think people can all have fears in some way of other people or things, or scared of heights. I don't know. You can be scared of any. I mean, there's people have all sorts of fears, but I think everyone has some sort of fear inside of them.
What about you, Jonathan? How do you look at the word fear, and in your experiences, how has it been difficult, and what have you tried to do to remedy that?
I'd say, like, in one easy example would just be basketball. Like, going into a game or season or trying to make a team or whatever the case may be, or get in the rotation, just like I would be so nervous. I used to be, and maybe still am at times, but it's something I've tried to work on for a while. It's just like you're so nervous going into the game that you just you're not the player that you've worked to become and stuff. And I think when you just get to a point that you like just know you're going to give it everything and you can live with the result is something that's helped me. And then at the end of the day, like, whenever I think I have a problem like basketball or something else, like, for me that's a good problem to have, because it could be way worse. Like, if I'm worrying about things like that, like sports or anything, then I just remember I'm blessed. And then another thing for me would be like social situations. Like, I think sometimes when I'm talking to people, it'll be awkward, or I'll get nervous for things like that. But just I think the only way you can get better at it is doing it and going through that. So
why do you think sometimes, not that this has ever happened to anybody in this room, but why do you think sometimes guys get nervous to talk to girls? Ask them out, say this, like what's up with that? Why does that take place?
I think people are just scared of being rejected.
Yes.
I think it's just like scared of what your friends are gonna say if this girl rejects you, blah 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 blah.
Right.
And just, I think that causes a lot of fear for people.
Does it get out there with social media? Is like if do people talk that much? So if like something happens, like the whole school finds out.
I mean,
maybe
not necessarily over. So I mean, people could text about it, but like, I mean, people aren't like going around posting so and so just got rejected by this girl. But like,
okay,
I mean, it can
that's
get
good.
talked about by their close friends or whatever, and
Right.
it makes people feel bad about themselves and just different things like that. But
yeah.
So I think that just makes people. It can make people scared.
Have you ever gotten rejected from a girl, Jonathan? Is it?
Oh, absolutely. No, I honestly think like if I do, it'd be like I'd be more willing to live with that than just not
right.
asking if I actually was like trying to. But like I told James I don't get embarrassed, and like it's not true, but I like to say that because I think if you don't care what other people think, it's a superpower. But at the end of the day, I think like him or like even you guys, if I was gonna go up to somebody or something, I think you would have more respect for me even if I got rejected, and it's kind of free entertainment for you than if I didn't do it at all. So I'm not really. Well, I mean, I would be still nervous. But.
The first girl I ever asked out on an actual date where I was driving, I was in 10th grade and she was 11th grade. She only said yes to me because I think she felt bad for me. But she said yes to me. She gave me her address. I showed up. Nobody's there. There's this. I got stood up. I drove all the way there, got stood up, knocked on the door. Nobody's answering. She probably gave me a wrong. It happens.
Happens to the best.
I think she just, it was pity. What's the number one? Well, not the number one thing. What are girls attracted to? So you're talking about rejection, nervous, scared, don't want to put myself out there. But then the flip of the coin is what are girls attracted to?
Well, I would say definitely confidence. So
yeah.
I think if you can fake it till you make it, that'd be great. But it's not.
They can read that. They can read the fake it part. So it's confidence, but maybe like not ego attached with confidence. It's confidence in that you're just simply willing to talk. They know you have to go talk to them.
Yeah.
Like they understand like your dilemma, and they may, and so it's just, but there's something like they're just a person. They're just a person.
He told me if you're in that situation, what would Ben do?
I don't know.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah, I've had a lot of different versions of myself. I would get scared and nervous to talk to people, especially in public. I have this idea someday. I want to write a book and do a podcast, 100 cities, 100 people in 100 days. And that means I have to go up to people and they have to be interesting. They have to have a story. I have to talk to them. I have to whatever. Then I have to record it. I have to compile that in a chapter. And then I got to go to another city. Do the same thing. Go to a bar. Go to this. Go to the grocery store. Then 100 cities. By the end of that, I'll be able to talk to anybody if I can pull that off. That's a goal I have. And then write a book about it. But yeah. So all right. Good stuff. Okay. So we mentioned like. How is your school? This is Olathe East. How is your school handling electronics? What are the rules? What are kids doing? How is this working?
Well, all of high school, they've been very lenient on cell phones, and people have used them too much, including myself. I'll admit it, but I do think that has been a problem in high school, that people are on their phones too much. And then this year, they're just saying no phones completely at all for anyone at any class period at all, which I think in the long run could be better, but I don't think in certain classes where, let's say you have a bad teacher or something and you've done all your assignments, you have straight A's or you have really good grades,
right? And
you pretty much are getting punished just because a teacher isn't teaching you material the whole class. Then you're just sitting there with nothing to do, and then you're going to get in trouble for going on your phone, but it's like just sitting there looking at the clock isn't a better option.
Right. Okay.
I think that's sometimes can be more on the teachers.
Yeah, I agree with that. What do you say?
So yeah, I think there's some aspects like phones, like we'd play games or stuff in class every now and then. And like, especially, I think me, like, I would understand, an appropriate time, teachers not teaching, whatever. There certainly was kids who did not and just, couldn't put it down. I think in hindsight, and I've joked about it a lot of like, we want our phone time, but in hindsight, I think it's a good thing I think people's grades will go up. And it's good to be, able to go through class without it. But I think like in our advisory, they're not allowing us to have it, which is like pretty much our study hall.
Right.
Which I think, I don't think that's necessarily fair or, the best call. Because I think a lot of times I'll be texting my parents or texting my friends on like what I'm going to do.
Asking
and also
a girl out, maybe, you never know.
And like Google Classroom and stuff like that, even Google Docs, I like doing that stuff on my phone. It's just quicker and easier for me. And I honestly would use it for productive things sometimes. But I think the laptops, the problem I have is the laptops, at least in my experience, it's horrible. Like, it doesn't work half the time. It takes all day to load. And
so are the teachers going to be taking your phone if they see you with the phone out? Are they taking your phones away, or what's the punishment?
I think it depends on the teacher. I think they're gonna lay the hammer down hard early, but I think they'll ease up on it in the long term.
Why don't we just create a product, like we can do this right now, and we'll make the money on it, where it's on hangers. Okay, so you have like 3 hangers, and then you have 35 slots for phones, number each slot, and then you sell, and then we're going to sell them to districts. So every single classroom has the exact same thing that McFall had.
Well, a lot of teachers do have that.
Oh, see, I haven't been in a classroom since 2014, so they actually have that.
Yeah, some people do, but I mean, there is teachers that do have you put your cell phone in slots at the beginning of an hour, and you just get numbered off.
And kids, like, do they say, I don't have a phone on me? Like, they lie.
I mean, there's certainly people who say, oh, I'm grounded.
So what percentage of teachers have you check your phone in at the beginning of every class?
10% probably.
Okay. How many teachers have
maybe 0 right now? But
but throughout,
I don't think I've ever actually had a teacher that did that, but I know there is some.
How many teachers have that actual contraption? I've
seen 1 or 2 maybe.
That'll late these.
They have them for calculators. It's like the same thing. So a lot of times they'll use those because that's where the calculator.
That makes sense. Okay.
I think there was more at Shawnee Mission South than Lake East. I think all of my teachers had them at Shawnee Mission South, but like 2 of them used them. They just had it because I don't know if they were told to, but I don't know.
So Brett, here's a question for you. What do you think about your brother locking certain apps away so you only have a certain amount of minutes to be on TikTok or whatever? William took over Brett's phone when he was
I mean, part of that was him just being my big brother and wanted to let me know that he had control over part of my life. But in the overall scope of it, I think that is a good thing for people to have, so they're not sitting in their bed at 2 a.m. and they're just scrolling through TikTok, wasting time, doing whatever, or sitting. You're supposed to be doing homework and you scroll through TikTok, and then an hour goes by like nothing, and you don't even realize. So I do think, in overall, that is a good thing. But yeah, I mean, he did take it a little too far just because he's my older brother. But yeah.
Do you think, Jonathan, that kids are kind of addicted to their phones? Like, not even talking school right now, but are we on it too much? What's good about it? What's bad about it? What do you think?
Absolutely. I think I would be interested to see like what the average person our age's screen time is daily. I bet it'd be upwards of 6+ hours, maybe even more. But for me, I've definitely like had a problem with it, and I've certainly I did the time limit, but then I'd find myself overriding it every now and then. So then I put another one on, but I delete TikTok every now and then. I'll put it on to see if there's anything new, but I try to almost never have any of the shorts apps, because those I feel like really get me to just scroll.
And I think it's all, I mean, I think there's a lot of good stuff out there. I don't think that it's all wrong. I think the key is, and especially for parents of, younger kids, these parents that just allow these devices to basically, in essence, what they do is it starts as a babysitter. So you have 2-year-olds and 4-year-olds, give them their thing, so they'll shut up, give them this in the car, and what they do is it slows their brain down, it quiets them up, and they rely on that. That's their binky. The pacifier becomes that. And I say, screw the pacifier and screw all these devices, and have actual hardcore boundaries for your kids early. And what I believe is true about a lot of kids is ultimately they know it's better for them and they appreciate it. But you actually have the guts as a parent to say it and do it and implement it. Just like teachers at the school, they're gonna have these rules. Who's going to actually do it? When I was a teacher, I was tough on phones. I took phones all the time. And if I saw a phone, it's mine till the end of school day. You want to cry about it? Go cry to somebody else. I don't want to hear it. That was just how I did it. But I was unusual. And that was 2010, 2012, 2014. I was the tough one on phones. Most teachers back then didn't care. So now now it's interesting. Now we're 2024. And we have some teachers and maybe even a district that's going to get tough on phones. Where have you been? What this looks like to me is the same thing as a parent that decides to start parenting at 16. Hey, better late than never. But where have you been? Why when these things didn't get started, where was the, why didn't we have some of these boundaries then? The answer is adults are weak. Parents are weak. They don't want to hurt someone's feeling. They don't want them to get argued back. They're weak. And they're even fearful, I think, sometimes of the brushback. But I am glad that maybe there's a push. I wonder why do you think the push is now? Any idea why all of a sudden Aletha's doing this now? Is it, research says, what's the deal?
I think they've probably just realized that, I think it has gotten out of control with the amount of time people spend on their phones, and maybe they're just thinking taking away phones will make the education system better and make people learn more.
Here's the thing that adults know, I know, there's certain things I want to go to. I want to have my phone. There is the ability to multitask a little bit. Phones aren't all 100% bad. You can be blocked away and not paying attention. But sometimes, I don't know, it's a tricky thing. It's respectful. I've spoken at conferences and I'm standing up in front of all these people. And I got people watching, listening, paying attention. And I know this last conference I spoke at, this was in Idaho. There's literally a lady, did not look up. She sat in the back row and she was on her phone the entire time. She didn't even know, if my name was Ben or Susie, no clue. She, I'm not going to make a joke, but she, anyway. But that's so I don't know. I don't think phones are all bad. I don't think social media is all bad. I just think that it's an excess. And I know if you guys go on a date, put your phone down, give her undivided attention. Obviously, right? Obviously. Okay. So a different question for you. Fantasy football is in full swing. It's all of this stuff's about to take place. People are, figuring out their strategies. Let me first ask you guys this. What is a good fantasy football strategy going into the draft? Now, I'm going to be in this league, so I'm not trying to get his secrets.
He wants my secrets. But
Didn't I win last? Did I win last?
No. I was in 3 leagues and won all 3.
Oh.
So.
I don't know. I feel like I beat him at something. I don't know. But anyway, it's 2024 now. What's a good strategy for this year?
I would say the first round, take the best available player, whether that's a running back or a receiver. And then second round, it kind of depends where your draft spot is, but I would most likely take the best available. Either if you take a receiver in the first round, I take the best available running back in the second round and kind of just go from there and see what's available. And then I definitely think having top tier receivers is always a huge advantage that you can have on other people, because running backs get hurt a ton. There's backups that randomly become really good. There's so
Right.
many different things that happen every year with running backs that people would not expect at all. So I think having some of those top receivers is a big advantage.
Jonathan, are you targeting a quarterback or two in this fan? Any like somebody who wasn't maybe great last year, but you think could be great this year?
For fantasy purposes, I'm a late QB guy. I'm not looking at him until the 8th round. I'm going to be one of the last people to touch a quarterback.
Okay.
I would even be willing to stream a quarterback, meaning I'm picking up a new one every week based off matchups and things like that.
Okay.
I remember like a couple years back, I got like Taysom Hill was like the starting quarterback for the Saints because they had like Drew Brees and Jameis went down. And then, but I could put him as like my flex because he was also listed as a tight end.
Right.
But I always am trying to get running backs and receivers first and my backups even before I'm touching quarterback. But if I were to look at a guy that I think could be a riser, I say Jordan Love because I just think he's going to be a top 5 QB.
Okay.
And maybe not everybody knows that.
We'll find out. I'm going to bet money he's not going to be. He's going to maybe get lucky and squeak into the top 10, but he's not top 10.
Oh, he's already in the top 10.
Oh, so
He's firmly in the top 10.
He's wishing he was in the top 10. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is back. Is he going to be Is he going to be top 10?
I think Love is better than Rodgers.
Well, who will have a better year this year?
Jordan Love.
Okay. I don't know.
I haven't seen Rodgers play a good football game in 3 years, so
that's an exciting.
it's not. He hasn't thrown for over 300 yards in a game in 24 games.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe I'm wrong.
He wasn't the MVP his last year with the Packers. Was
No,
he?
no, they went 8
because he had 2 in a row.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they didn't even make the playoffs that year.
And the year before that, he did win MVP, and then
49ers
had a pitiful playoff performance and scored 10 points after having one of the best offenses in the league. So
Packers are the best franchise.
Is that
in all
with
of sports.
Devontae? That was Devontae's last year
which year?
when Rodgers had his MVP year.
Yeah,
he had Devontae. Yeah.
And then Devontae left, and
Yeah.
Rodgers wasn't good.
Right. Okay. So who's GOAT quarterback? Mahomes, Brady, Montana. Who's the best quarterback of all time?
I mean, as of right now, I think as a GOAT, I think it's Tom Brady. But in the next 3 or 4 years, I think it'll be unquestionably Patrick Mahomes. But as of right now, he hasn't played. He's only been playing for 6 years, so I don't think I can say that yet. But in terms of talent and who's just the best football player who's ever played the game, I 100% believe it's Patrick Mahomes. And how much he wins, the MVPs, his numbers, they all prove that he's better than anyone who's ever touched a football. But he hasn't. I don't think he's played long enough yet to actually be the GOAT of football, because Brady won 7 Super Bowls and was obviously great. But
so if Mahomes gets to 5, is he? And let's say he stops at 5, but he puts up numbers. But let's say he ends at 5.
I think
He's the GOAT.
I think he's the GOAT.
Why? Why is he? Why does he get that if Brady's won more?
Because as an individual player, I mean, football's a team sport. There's 22 people on the
Right.
field. And there was Super Bowls where Brady scored 10 points and won the Super Bowl. And that wasn't because of his performance. I mean,
He was carried by his defense.
yeah. I mean, but I think Mahomes has always had a huge. He's done more for his team and hasn't had to get carried by his defense or something like that. Except, I mean, last year the Chiefs finally had a great defense, which helped them a lot. But I think Mahomes does more.
As an argument for LeBron and Jordan, because it's not all about rings. It's about like the situation. Like you said, there was times where LeBron did in 2018, 2015, did everything humanly possible and didn't win, but that shouldn't be a strike against him because he didn't win the championship.
Yeah.
So people that would say that Mahomes is the GOAT, but then say, well, Jordan won 6, but then what if Mahomes only wins 5, which would be an amazing career. But those people are probably all saying Mahomes is a GOAT over Brady. Then they're going to say championships doesn't matter.
Well, I believe Jordan's the GOAT, but I'll never use the argument of 6-0 when I say he's the GOAT.
I agree.
Because Jordan's competition that he played was in his own conference, and then by the time he got to the the NBA championship, he wasn't playing as good of teams that LeBron had to play. LeBron
Had the reverse.
He had easier roads to get to the finals, but once he was in the finals, he played harder
Super
teams.
team.
Yeah,
Right,
and
right.
sometimes
Which is
the
what
best
right.
team ever. So, I mean,
What's the best team ever?
KD Warriors.
The Warriors with Durant, Curry.
Is that 2018?
17,
So
18.
17, 18.
17, 18.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So at what point do you say, what does Mahomes have to do to pass Brady in your eyes? Is it just simply playing more and continuing to do better? What does he have to win a couple more? Like, what does he have to do? You think that Mahomes is a better quarterback than Brady, just
Yes.
better quarterback.
Yeah.
So if Mahomes never wins another Super Bowl, do you still say Mahomes is a better quarterback than Brady?
Yes.
I mean,
What if Mahomes has some Rodgers years where he chokes in the playoffs all the time?
I mean, that
It's
I
bound
don't
to happen.
I don't expect. I mean, he already had his one. He choked one time in his career against the Bengals, but
That second half.
yeah, it was the worst half of football he's played. But I think he'd have to be way worse than he's at right now to actually like
Right. Yeah.
do that, because I don't see him slowing down anytime soon. I don't know why he would. He's
I mean,
he had to change his entire style of football last year just to win, and he did it. Just because.
What do you mean that changed his entire style?
I mean, he took a much safer approach in how he was playing quarterback because he didn't have the weapons and the explosive offense to
Gotcha.
do what he normally did, and he knew the Chiefs finally had a great defense last year, so he could rely on that more. And
Right.
like maybe it's third down, and instead of taking a shot, he would throw it away or something, just because he knows he can get that chance to get the ball back with the defense.
The interesting thing about Mahomes is his margin for victory is, I think, we know it as Chiefs fans, but or wait, are you actually a Chiefs fan?
Yeah.
You're a
Yeah,
Packers
yeah.
fan.
I rock with both.
Okay, that's fair enough. I didn't want to put something out there that you were just something that you weren't or whatever. But the margin for a victory, like, can Mahomes keep pulling off miracle after miracle? I mean, he has pulled off comeback after comeback after. He's not winning blowouts. He's winning close games, fourth quarter comebacks, last second plays, 3rd and 17. I mean, he's doing it 4th down in this, 4th and 12, scramble for 13. I mean, even a couple of games last year when our receivers sucked and couldn't catch anything, he's still making up for them sucking and throwing it through guys' hands on crazy scram. I mean, I just don't know how you beat the guy. How do you do that forever? If he does that for another year or two, you can't pass what he's done. His comebacks, I just have never seen anything like it, and it happens. But I mean, he could have a couple off years. He could actually like lose one of these games. Herbert could like become the next, some miracle. Wait, who are they throwing to in San Diego? They haven't even.
Quintus
LA,
Johnston.
by the way.
Oh, LA. Okay.
But no, I mean, they're kind of
It's
in a
not the
rebuild
Washington
mode.
Redskins either, is it?
No,
Okay.
they're in a rebuild because they spent all their money on trying to beat the Chiefs once Tyreek Hill left, because they thought that was their chance to take over the division, and then Mahomes had the best year of his career and
Gotcha.
won the Super Bowl back-to-back, so they kind of missed their shot, and so they're kind of retooling some of their offense right now.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate all you guys listening. We're going to wrap up episode 53. This has been a smorgasbord of topics. And
You got to talk about the slogan.
oh yeah, slow, yes. I knew I was going to forget. Light the light. So why do you guys like the slogan? What tell me about it. What's the deal with the slogan?
I think just the whole thing you're doing here is cool, making
Yeah.
a little movement.
Yeah.
Cool opportunity for us, but I think you're willing to talk about things most people aren't, and that provides good entertainment.
Do you know where the slogan came from? You might know where the slogan came
Your
from.
mom, right?
Yeah. It's actually on my mom's. My mom died when I was 16, and it's on her gravestone, actually. So that's where I got the idea. I was starting all this stuff. I just remember like looking at that and seeing that, and it's a episode 2. I kind of talked about some of that, but light the light, fight the fight. Drew's
Fight the fight.
Oh, did I say it's like an additional problem. You can go either way. It's fine. We need Drew here to say the slogan. If that's
Yeah.
Drew is a basketball player I coach, and he'll be running like down the court in the middle of the game, and he'll like light the light, fight the fight. And I'm like, thanks, Drew, appreciate it, buddy. But anyway, all right, folks, thank you for watching. Listen to these guys. I think they did a great job. 17, 18-year-old kids going to start their senior year. Should be a great year. They're excited for basketball, excited to meet people, to talk to people, to be brave, to not be fearful, to stay off their phones. There's so many things, to be successful, to lift weights. I mean, these guys are doing a lot. You guys said all this. I mean, I'm just going off what you guys said. So anyway, thanks for watching. And I will see you next time with episode 54. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. Let's keep the conversation going. You can reach out on Ben's website, www.benkeechshow.com, or on social media to chat. And please remember to subscribe so that you never miss an episode.